Alright, here we are with some vintage cube. I know it's been a while, but with the vintage cube back, I felt like I absolutely just had to hop on this. As you can see, we're fresh enough. We've only got, 6 people on the trophy board, so getting in here pretty early, only an hour and a half after the start of the queue, which must mean that these people had some sweet decks. There have been some interesting changes. Notably, red looks like it gets a lot better, like the mono red aggro decks with Ragavan and Dragon's Rage Channeler being pretty huge upgrades. So we'll kind of see if that changes anything for us. Blue didn't really change too much. Green had like a lot of cards that are effectively similar swapped out with newer cards that are effectively similar. And white did pick up some upgrades, although I did kind of like the creature that taxed your opponent's planeswalkers that I can't remember the name of. I did kind of like that, and that did get cut from this iteration of the cube. Black got some really solid stuff as well, too. I love Liliana the Last Hope, and that finally made its way back into the cube. So, yeah, we'll have to see kind of what is open and what comes to us. Oh, and then, of course, Urza Saga made its way in to the cube, which, is only going to power up the most broken artifact decks in the first place, but honestly, with the last mode probably being, find a Mox, you would think that sounds really good, but that's kind of the upside. I guess you could find a Lotus, right? But finding a Mox or a Lotus is, like, fine, but, it's basically, Lotus Bloom, or the Mox with Suspend, right? And I'm not 100% positive that the creatures are going to be so big that they matter a lot, because keep in mind, this is vintage cube. People are killing you pretty quickly. So that could change some things as well, too. The card might not even be very good in vintage cube, just because the creature side of it, they might not be big enough. I mean, obviously, in your most busted decks, they'll be big enough, but they might not be. And then even when they are, they just might not be fast enough at closing out the game if you don't have other things going on. And it is a pretty hefty mana requirement, so we shall see. All right. First pack. What are we looking at here? So, cards that I look at right away are trying to find the most broken things we can do with the first pack. It is vintage cube, so you do need to be very quick. Things that come to mind for me are Reanimator Shells, Artifact Shells, or potentially these very disruptive aggressive decks with like Port and Bomat Courier. Those seem to be the most busted things we can do here. Not really any great combo cards or anything like that. Maybe we'll just take this Bomat and just try to force red. I don't love that. All right, we'll give it a shot. I said red got some big upgrades. We're going to find out how big those upgrades are. We're going to see if we can force that. Okay. So this changes things. Now I definitely wish I had gone in a different direction. Seeing Glenlanda, Archmage, and Dak Faden and Impulse are all very, very strong blue cards, which leads me to believe that the first pick was not blue from this side, and we're getting past some solid blue cards. So I'm going to pivot a bit here. I think I'm going to take this Dak Faden. The Dreadhorde Arcanist looks good, but in the mono red deck specifically, the problem is all you can flash back is burn, which is fine sometimes, but like the reason this card was banned in Legacy and that it's so good as it is its card advantage when you start to flash back cantrips. Right, like it's like a Snapcaster Mage, so I don't love that as much. It's going to be tough between Dak and Glenn, but I've always erred on the side of the Planeswalkers, and then particularly taking the blue-red card over just the blue card to hopefully send a signal that direction that maybe blue-red is not open. Now, obviously, we're not looking at just like jamming Twin here, of course, unless we open some solid pieces and haven't committed to anything else yet, but yeah, we shall see. Okay, well, this is interesting. There are a lot of powerful, like just generically powerful cards here. So when I look here, I see empty Tendrils, and Duress, all as solid Storm cards. I don't think we can go that direction because there are all 3 of these in this pack, and that's a problem. We're going to get, maybe we take the Tendrils and maybe we wheel the Empty, but that card's not great. Grist seems good. Kozilek seems good. Questing Beast has been very impressive in all cubes. But I think I'm going to stick with the blue cards and go with either Snapcaster or Riftwing. Not super impressed with this. It's fine, but it's not great. I don't really like Lotus Bloom Suspend cards outside of combo, so I think I'm going to just take the Snapcaster Mage, but it is relatively close. I'm a big fan of Riftwing Cloudskate. Okay, interesting. Okay, so now we do have the Dragon's Rage Channeler here. We also have blue fetch lands, which I think we're going to have to take one of them. They're really, really at a high premium. Having 2 of them in one pack, too, means that it's very unlikely that one of them is going to come around anyway. Although I don't really love the cards that we're getting out of this on the wheel, because it's not going to be one of these. It's not going to be one of the fetch lands. It's probably going to be like the Thassa's Oracle as our best next card. Maybe the Goblin, but probably not. So I guess the question to ask is, do we want the outs to Teamer or the outs to Jeskai? And I think I would like the outs to Jeskai because the white cards in general are better than the green cards. Okay, and now we're just looking at plain old Counterspell. Now this card is not, absolutely absurd. It's not something to like snap off super early, but it is nice in the blue decks to have hard permission, as opposed to there are tons and tons of like variable permission or like soft permission where it's like, Remand or Mana Leak or things like that. So it is kind of nice to just solidify a piece of hard permission semi-early on. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Now, I suppose we could just take like this Firebolt. It's not a great card, to be honest, but there's not a whole lot else here. We could, I suppose, take Thirst for Knowledge and maybe find ourselves taking like a Tinker style deck or something like that. We could be like blue-red artifacts potentially. But I think with the Snapcaster Mage, I'm more inclined to want to take this Firebolt. If a card like this is going to come around, right? Yeah. If a card like Thirst for Knowledge comes back, that'd be fantastic. Not very likely, but yeah. We shall see. Okay, well, it's funny to see both of these in the same pack together. I think I'm going to take Young Pyromancer, and we can kind of just be on this like Delvery-style tempo plan. I don't love Mystical Tutor unless you have specifically Ancestral, and even then it's not great because you're going to tutor the Ancestral, right? You're going to cast the Ancestral, and you've used 2 cards to go up 3, so it's only going up 1 card, and part of what makes Ancestral so good is the fact that it goes up so many cards. Okay, well, I guess we'll just take this Nahiri here as like a potential splash. I don't see us playing, the Banefire. I did mention artifacts, but Mishra's Workshop has to be a very specific artifact deck. Okay, well, this Port did come around, but now we don't want it. I'll just take the Repeal. It's a fine card. Okay, so now we can either take the Dread Horde or the Lightning Strike, and which one is more important to us here? We don't have many spells right now, so I'm inclined to say the Lightning Strike is going to be a little bit better for us. I don't know if we'll play this card, but I'm going to set it to the side. We shall see. Wow, this came back. Okay, so we are going to be a more aggressively slanted blue-red deck. Ooh, Grim Lavamancer is probably fine as well, too. I don't know if we'll play either of these 2 cards. We shall see. But, yeah, just kind of like a tempo deck here. We love to see Daze or Force of Will are cards that are pretty great for a deck like this. If we get a whole bunch of cantrips and whatnot, an actual Delver itself would be potentially pretty good. This card is better than Delver because it, I feel like has a lot higher chance to flip, and especially having this Bomat Courier in our deck is kind of a sick out to getting an artifact in our yard, to be honest. So maybe that'll be fine. Much less of a control game plan, much more, trying to get our resources and get ahead. This is where I'm going to put the cards that I'm not sure about. And Desperate Ritual may look super funny, but it honestly might be okay. We'll kind of have to see where we end up. Okay, so right now, I kind of like the look of the... What does this card do? Surveil 2, you're going to keep... You pay 1 life, return... Oh, okay. Definitely not what we're looking for. I I kind of like the look of the Soulscar Mage. The Is It Signet is potentially fine, especially with Dak powering up Delirium for our DRC. So that's a fine pickup. But if we want to be more aggressive, I want to be a little slanted towards taking the aggressive creatures. And then maybe we can just find ourselves wheeling this Venser, which would be a fine, you know, top-end style of thing for our deck. I'd be a lot more likely to take something like the Signet if we were a little bit bigger of a deck. But right now it looks like we're going to be pretty trimmed down at a bunch of 1s and 2s. All right. This card's basically perfect for us, Lightning Bolt. I would love this Season Pyromancer to wheel, actually. That'd be another great Delirium enabler as well as just a decent grindy card. But Lightning Bolt works so well with everything we have. Young Pyromancer, Counterspell, Dragon Mage Channeler, Soulscar. I mean, just everything we have, it's doing what we want. So I will take the Lightning Bolt as a very solid card. Okay, so this is interesting. Choices that we have. Actually, let me see this. You may choose not to untap it. Another target non-artifact. 4/4. Nope, don't want that. Seems bad. So choices we have are all pretty interesting. Sword of Fire and Ice is a really solid card when you have a bunch of token makers and something like this. And then also Flyers, which potentially DRC can be. So this is a choice. Taking the Plateau, but I'm not positive we want to play white. Like, we're not going to be in this like Nahiri Emrakul style deck. Seagate Stormcaller might be okay just as like a 2-drop creature. That might be fine. And then Hellrider as well too is just a great top end threat. I kind of want to take the Sword of Fire and Ice to give ourselves another artifact. I think that I want to lean that way just a tad. It's pretty close, but just a little bit. Okay, well, this is interesting now. So Light Up the Stage is maybe a tad... no, it's probably fine with what we're doing. I was going to say maybe a tad bit aggressive for what we're doing, but that might be okay. Figure of Destiny is a fine card, but does require a very heavy red mana base. Although it does look like what we're going to be doing here. Wheel I don't love, so I think it really is just between these two cards. I think I'm going to take the Light Up the Stage between those two. Ooh, Spire Bluff Canal. Exactly what we're looking for. Any blue-red land we can get kind of has to be a snap, considering we have so many like red 1-drops, and then double blue for counterspell. So basically any blue-red land we can find we probably want. Ooh, this is, I mean, we're going to take the Swift Spear, but I actually really love Skull Clamp in these kinds of decks. Just aggressive creatures, so that, especially these 2-powered one, or 2 defense ones, or Dragon's Rage Channeler, so that it can stick around, deal some extra damage, and then they're going to want to have to kill it. When they do, you get to draw cards out of it. So that's nice. But, I mean, all things considered, I think that's just going to be much better for us. I'll take the Abrade. Abrade is a really solid card in this cube. There are so many artifacts just flying around, messing with everybody. Well, as much as I would love to take this card, Chain Lightning does all the same things that Lightning Bolt was doing for us, at a cost, right? Sorcery speed matters, and you know, them being able to throw it back does matter. So it's not nothing, but it does enable all the same things. So I think we're gonna just happily take that here. Now we're looking almost completely red. This Counterspell might not end up making it. This Hazoret might, however. I suppose we might end up playing that as well, too. We're not going to play this. We're not going to play the Nahiri. We know that much for sure. Like I had said, Venser might be an okay top end, just as a disruptive creature. Although I'm not positive we want to be doing that. We genuinely might just want to, like, forgo the blue. I mean, I think at this point, right, we could do this, and this. Maybe just give up on the blue entirely. I mean, we have a decent deck, nothing absurd, but I guess there's nothing else really in here that I want, so we'll get this in here for now, and we'll see where we're at. Okay, the Season Pyromancer was a great wheel, great pickup. If we find ourselves with enough blue lands, I'll probably splash like the Repeal, the Dak, and then maybe if we need to, the Snapcaster Mage. But the Counterspell and Venser are going to go to the side. One more, because it's going to be a little more ambitious, I think, for us to find room for the double blue cards. Yeah, I think I just want Hellrider, the more aggressive. We already have a Braid as a way to answer that, and we saw the creature that has a Destroy artifact on the backside that might come back around. Okay, well, now I think we're very heavily mono-red. Would love to see Ragavan. Honestly, it would be a sweet pickup. I would love to play with that card. Let's board that. I don't know, maybe we pick up an Emrakul later and we have some strange combo out. I don't know. But yeah, Ragavan would be a sweet pickup. We have a lot of the bolts, a lot of the one-drop creatures. Our 2-drop slot's a little thin, but that might be okay. I think the mono-red deck wants to be a lot more heavy on the 1-drops. So, that might be fine, honestly. We'll see where we end up. I don't love this Hazoret. It's not a card I'm in love with. In Legacy Cube and Modern Cube, it's much better. Vintage Cube, it's kind of medium. Okay, well, I'll take this. I don't think we're going to play that. Let's see. I guess we have Mox Diamond. I do kind of like Unholy Heat, but Mox Diamond helps us to put... it gives ourselves another artifact in our deck that we could potentially Season Pyromancer through, but also these red decks are just looking to get ahead and then stay ahead, and we already have some removal, so I think the mana production from this Mox Diamond and helping us get ahead is going to be more important, and then we're going to kind of just hope we wheel that, I suppose, the Unholy Heat, because we'd probably play that too. Now the question is, what card do we want here? With all of these prowess creatures and young Pyromancer, I'm kind of inclined to want to take the Manamorphose, to be honest. It helps with 1, 2, 3, 4 creatures here, 5 there, so it's pretty decent. We are kind of just a prowess deck. And then I think that we're going to wheel one of these, or probably both of those mono-red creatures as well, so I think I will take the Manamorphose for now. That card's pretty powerful. Oh boy, lots of solid cards here. I think we probably just want to take the Dire Fleet. Yeah, we definitely are not in a spot where we can play Daze because we're not going to have many islands. So that's not going to work for us. Phyrexian Revoker's fine, but it's not, like anything to go out of your way to get. So I think I'm going to prefer take this here. Alright, obviously should have taken the Deceiver Exarch earlier, right? Right, everybody? Yeah. I'm just going to take the Chrome Box. I think, once again, just the acceleration is pretty solid. There's not really much else here for us anyway, so it's probably fine. Let's see here. We've got all our creatures down here. Creatures here. Creature, yeah. So I'm definitely going to ship these out. If we find a Volcanic, which I doubt is going to happen, but if we did find ourselves with one, I would still play the Flooded Strain, I think, because we do have Graveyard synergies with Dragon's Rage Channeler, Grim Lavamancer, as just, like, reasons to want a land in the graveyard. But if we don't find ourselves with one of those, then, there's obviously no reason to play it. I suppose we could maybe play it with, like, a Plateau. I know there was a Sacred Foundry earlier, so maybe we'll pick that up and play that, just to try to get lands in the graveyard. We'll see what comes back around. Would love some more like 1 and 2 mana. I guess we don't need more, like, necessarily burn. I guess Fire Blast would be pretty decent. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna take the land for the reason I was just talking about earlier, actually. Just get some lands in the graveyard. I don't know what this is going to do. Like, it's basically another wheel. We don't need that. A 6-drop is real ambitious, so I'll just take the red wheel. What's better for us here? Do we prefer this, the potential removal spell that this comes with, or do we prefer just the more aggressive creature in general that comes down earlier? I think I actually prefer this. I also think that this card's going to end up wheeling, although probably both of them will. But I want to just get to the board early, and that card helps with that quite a bit. I don't love Abbott, to be honest. I might play it, but I really don't love the card. I guess it's better than anything else in here for us, so I'll take it and put it in. That might be a card that we consider cutting later. We'll see. Oof. Really whiffed on my combo here. Had the chance to force it in the Pestermite, but Yeah. So here, I don't think we're going to play any of these. I'll take this one for the board. I think it's better than Imperial Recruiter just because it generates mana. We did find the Unholy Heat again, which is sweet. So we do have quite a bit of removal. Both of these came back. Wow. Well, I think they're pretty similar on just like raw general power, but I'm going to take the Steamkin now that we have this Manamorphose. It does a little more for us. And then the Shrine is a solid sideboard card. I don't love main decking that. R.I.P. I don't love main decking that. But it is a pretty solid sideboard card. And now we're to the point where we need to start looking at things to cut. You know, I guess this Daredevil is not going to be great against everyone, so I can trim on that. I have a lot of creatures, so we don't necessarily need all of these. I wonder if we don't want the Hazoret. This is a solid sideboard card for more removal. Probably not going to play that ever, but you never know. Now we're at 22 cards, 18 lands. Well, I suppose not quite, because these together probably count as one, so 23, so 17 lands. Somewhere in that ballpark is kind of what we're looking at. I'll take these out, because they are mana sources, even if they're not going to be, you know, lands for us. They are still mana sources. So, looking at 22 cards, if I put in both of these mocks, which they are going to make the cut, but if I put both of these in, we have 16 lands. I think we can maybe get one more card in here. Is there one more card that we want to play? Might just be Shrine, honestly. Interesting. You know, I want it to be a non-creature spell to help trigger all of these prowess and whatnot, but I also would love for it to be a red spell to trigger Runaway Steamkin. Oh, I suppose we can cut this and just get the... Where'd it go? The Daredevil. Daredevil's probably better than, you know, the random Magda just making treasures when it attacks. That's probably better. Let's see here. How else can I sort these? Product type? What does that do for me? I have no idea what that's doing. So we're going to go back here. Yeah, this might be fine. We might just do this. Because I'm not super excited to get any of these other cards in my deck. I mean, they're fine. Desperate Ritual is just, like, meh. I mean, I know I was talking about how we want mana acceleration, but I think going, like, 2 1-drops on 1 is, like, dramatically better than going, like, a 3-drop on 2. Like, I don't even think they're comparable. So, although I suppose this does give us outs to, like, you know, Mox plus something 3-drop, but our 3-drops are not... I mean, you don't want to Season Pyromancer after doing that, right? I guess you could potentially do some shenanigans with this stuff, but yeah. I think this is fine, and then we'll get these in. And then just a whole bunch of mountains. We don't want anything else. No thank you. Thank you. Oops, still need one more. Oh, we got a plains in there too. No thanks. Let's get this mountain back up. Yeah, I must have seen the Porcelain Legionnaire and got me there. Yeah, so we're looking at, you know, 16 lands, which honestly we could probably go down to 15. I'm just hesitant because there's not really another great card I want to play over it. Like, maybe it is just Hazoret. Maybe it's just this Flametongue Yearling. Maybe it's just Magda. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably give this a shot, and we're going to find out pretty quickly if this is going to be, you know, too many or too little lands. But maybe with having things like the Season Pyromancer and the Mishra's Factory might make us a little more mana hungry, and then, you know, having the Mox Diamond especially is going to be pretty important for that. So, yeah, we're just going to roll with this, see how this goes. I will see you in game number 1 of the brand new Vintage Cube with Mono Red. Alright, so round 1 with our Mono Red deck here. Well, we won the play. Ooh, oh, this is going to be pretty sweet. Alright, well, we're definitely keeping. The question is, what do we want to ban? And it's, unfortunately, probably the Manamorphose. Because we probably do need to keep the... other creature around. It's pretty unlikely the Swift Spear is going to go the whole way, right? So, yeah, I guess I'll just do that. So go ahead and bin this Manamorphose. There's no way they're going to, like, force this or something, right? Okay. Maybe it's just the Bolt. They have a lot of removal. I kind of like what this does for us next turn. Alright, yeah. We'll exile the Bolt. Get in there for 2 on turn 1 as our best Goblin Guide impression. Pretty solid. Definitely pretty solid. We are down to 2 cards, though. And this is part of the, like, what's not insanely powerful about the mono-red deck is just the fact that, like, we, quote, went off, and our opponent's at 18, and we have 2 cards in hand. And that's, you know, not exactly where we want to be. Okay, well, we'll see what they've got. Could be like a Swords or a Path, obviously. Okay, we'll play this Factory. I guess we could name Red-White here. Yeah, I think I'll name Red-White. We can still use the white to buff this if we want to, or we can just not take damage for this Porcelain Legionnaire, which I guess is what we're going to do. But yeah. Pretty aggressive start here. And then next turn it looks like we can just kind of line this up. Although, you know what, this is probably a mistake. I probably should have leveled this up and taken the damage here. Right? Yeah, I probably should have done that, because then next turn we could threaten to level that up once again. Yeah, that was probably a mistake. I should have gone that direction, but you know, at least we have quite a bit of power on the board. If we do draw a red source, well, really any land, because everything's a red source. If we draw a land, this Hell Rider is going to be pretty darn good next turn, to the point where actually it'll be at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, why am I counting up? Sorry. 15, 12, 9. They'll be at 7, taking 4 from that, so they'll drop to 3. So they're, I mean, if we draw a red source and they don't do anything, they're basically dead. It's a pretty quick kill on turn 3 almost. Did not, unfortunately. So I suppose what we'll do is I'll just level this up. Then the question is, do we want to just attack with this Factory? I think we do. If they use a removal spell on that and not on any of these, that might be fine for us at this point. Obviously, it's putting us further away from Hell Rider, but, you know, we're attacking a lot harder with other creatures, so this could mean a potential, like, Containment Priest, like a flash white creature. But I think if they want to flash that in and try to eat our Monastery Swiftspear, or I guess they do get to eat our Monastery Swiftspear, I think that's fine for us at this point once again. Yeah, they're taking a ton of damage. I guess they could trade with our Workshop, but I think it would probably be... it might be better for them to trade with the Workshop. They've gone through blocks, though, so that's obviously not what they have or what they're doing. I've got 8 damage on the board here, dropping them down to 7, which is dangerously close to Hell Rider lethal. Which is pretty solid. And if they do go ahead and cast anything that's a spell, we're gonna Condemn. What does this one do again? So, puts our... Oh, wow, okay, they're not going to put, like, this on the bottom? They, and they don't have another removal spell. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Maybe. May not have third land here as well, too. Oof. Well, now I'm a bit sad about that, but it is what it is. So I wish we could play this sword out and trigger prowess, but we're still being super aggressive here. I'm just going to play out this Direfleet Daredevil post-combat. Now, mind you, we would have had 1 more damage had we done this differently and leveled this up earlier, so if our opponent does find a way to stabilize at 1, I'm going to feel pretty bummed about that. Well, it seems very unlikely that that's going to be the case. Because they missed their third land drop, they can't even Wrath us this next turn, which is why I'm willing to just play this out. This also means that if they have a blue source for like a Snapcaster, which they could potentially have, we're not even going to lose to that, thanks to Daredevil's clause of exiling the card regardless of if we actually play it or not, which is pretty nice. Okay, they found their third land. Let's see what they have for it, though. Okay, so they are just like mono white. I don't think they really have many outs then. I mean, we've got tons of creatures on the board. Oof. Does that change anything? Does that present lethal through a removal spell? So if we Mox Diamond, just to get the prowess trigger, mind you, this will end up sacrificing itself. They will block here, remove here. They still are taking lethal as it currently sits anyway. So their play might be block and swords. Block, swords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they would still die if that's their plan. So I don't know what they have going on here. What they could possibly have for 1 mana. Maybe they have like Solitude, which is or they're just dead. Gotcha. Alright, well, that was pretty darn quick. Is there anything different that we want here against mono white? I don't think so. Pyroclasm could be, as funny as it sounds, a consideration because, excuse me, our prowess threats with 2 toughness live through it. Runaway Steamkin is likely to live through it. I don't think we want that, though. I think that's kind of asking too much of changing our deck, essentially, and that's just really not where we want to be. So I think we'll just go here again. Yeah, and just kind of see. If they have tons of creature removal, I might bring in the... this is a pretty solid draw, actually. I might bring in the Shrine, potentially, but... that'll also depend on if we see a Skyclave apparition or not, because that's a pretty big deal. This is going to be a great draw for us, however. We're going to Dragon's Rage Channeler on 1, and then hopefully we'll get through and get to light up the stage. Should be really, really solid. Unless they play like Giver of Ruins or some other 1-2, I suppose, that could potentially get in our way a bit. Raven Inspector. See what they're trying to play on turn 1 here. Ah. Okay. Well, that probably means we have to go Soul Scar Mage first, unfortunately. Oh. Or... or we do both. So we'll do this first, so that we get to Surveil. So this is why I love these Moxes in these aggressive creature decks, because now we get to put both of our 1-drops on the board. Get to trigger this the way that Mishra's Bauble has been doing so in Modern, and honestly kind of wreaking havoc. Land. I think we actually do want that on top, because we are going to be trying to get up to this Hellrider, and we're bidding a land anyway, so I think I actually will keep that on top. Because they're still going to get land type in the yard from this. And this allows us to just hard cast this light up the stage next turn, if we have to. Because I am going to attack with the Soul Scar Mage, and we'll see what they do. And if they, chump block, just, to save life, that's fine. If they don't, we'll get to light up the stage for 1, which is obviously better. Oh, they do have blue mana. I wonder what that could be for. Maybe something like a Teferi, or it's always possible that they just open power. Time Walk is notoriously great for creature decks, and so they could have opened a Time Walk, or potentially just an Ancestral and just wanted the card advantage. I've been known to do that before as well, too, in mono-white decks. Pack 2, you open up some super busted piece of power, and you're like, well, bummer, I guess I just have to splash blue. It's always unfortunate when I have to use the islands, because the mono-white decks are pretty mana-hungry, but you gotta do what you gotta do to play with the cool cards. Let's see what they have. What you waiting for, opponent? So we saw Selfless Spirit out of them last game as, one of the 2 cards they cast. That was it. Okay. So I guess we'll attack with this Soul Scar Mage first, because it's not possible to go land, light up the stage, Surveil into 4th type for this. So I think we just want to do this first. And then we can cast this with Spectacle. Get ourselves some triggers. I think I will keep that. Yeah, because that's a good card to have off light up the stage. Since it is an instant, which is pretty nice. Oh, wow. Okay. Can't see I was expecting that, but our draw was pretty absurd, so it does make sense that it was tough for them to hang. things went according to plan. I guess I'll see you in round number 2. Alrighty, here we are again. Did not win the die roll, but this hand is pretty solid. We'll love to find ourselves with another land, or, I mean, one of our mocks would be pretty good too. Ooh, opposing mono red deck. Alright. We're going to have to be a little careful with this Chain Lightning then, I suppose. The question is, do we want to remove their threat or play one of our own? I think I'm going to play Bomat Courier and actually just pass. If we get to a point where they offer the trade, I'll take it. But this might encourage them or incentivize them to use a removal spell to get this Bomat through. And if that's the case, I'm more than happy because we have this Green Lavamancer sticking around, and that's pretty solid for us as a creature in comparison to our just fragile 1/1 Bomat in a matchup like this. Okay, so they're going to be doing that next turn, which kind of stinks for us. It means we'll have to keep one of these as an answer. So I think what I want to do then is just go land. I'll just Firebolt this and then Grim Lavamancer. And then next turn we can Abbot, see if we find a land. If we don't find a land, we'll just go land Chain Lightning their Goblin Rabblemaster, which is fine. I'm hoping that this Hell Rider is going to be really solid for us. I suppose we could actually just shoot this down with the... Oh, they're gonna... Oh my goodness. Wow, okay, now we're definitely gonna wreck them. Considering their plan is just keep this thing alive. Oh, that's a bummer, because I like that card, but it's fine. Alright. For those who may not have seen there, they Fire Blasted, sacrificing 2 mountains to alternate cast this to kill our Grim Lavamancer so they could try to keep their Goblin alive, and that did not work out well. So now they're down to 2 lands and 3 cards in hand. Oof, this with Delirium? Ooh, boy. That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So this is 5, correct? It only deals 2. Great. Well, I'm going to play this, and I'm just going to attack with the Hell Rider, offer this trade. Do I need to hold back for a turn? No, I don't think I can. And the reason I'm keeping this back... Oh, they are going to trade. Wow, okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. Having this Soul Scar and then a Firebolt is pretty nice. The reason I held back is I didn't want them to get a free kill out of that. Okay, so I guess I'll just play this. And I'll attack. They might be a little flooded. That might have been why they were so ambitious to fire off that Fire Blast earlier. Maybe they're just a bit flooded and they're looking for something else to do. Notably, this Mox Diamond would have been better as a land here, but if we do draw a land, we can cast it and then still have our 5th land. But, okay, yep. So I have 1 card left. We can cast it and then we can, you know, still Firebolt, which is kind of nice. Hopefully, okay, so they don't have their own Hell Rider, which is good at least. They're going to hold that back. Wow. That is surprising. Alright, well, I'm going to attack. And if they block, I'll just Lightning Strike their face here, since we have prowess on our creature. And if they remove our creature in response with something, then, you know, it's still just fine. Do we have Delirium for ours yet? Strip Mine. You got us. Alright, so they're, you know... Oh, well. It's not really going to do much against our aggressive creatures here, this Strip Mine. But, you know, they are probably going to be able to keep us off of Fire Blast, or Firebolting them on... I was going to call it Rebound, but Flashback. They're probably going to be able to keep us off that. So they should probably just... Oh, okay, maybe they have an expensive card in hand? That's fine. Get to just attack through that pretty easily. You know, this is... No, this isn't a mistake. This is fine, because we can float the mana. I was going to say this might have been a mistake. But here we can just do this. Get another Prowess trigger. get in there and attack. Now they're pretty far behind, unless they have something like White Source into Lightning Helix, you know, to take out our threats. I think we've kind of got this one. I suppose that card could make a difference too if their last card matters, but I don't think it does. I think they would have probably cast that right away. Yeah. So we're going to drop to 2. We'll trade there, and that's fine. I'll just hold this land in hand. It's not doing anything. Now we have, you know, tons of outs to just burn to their face and kill them, which is pretty good. Probably just this on defense. Yeah. Oh, sweet. And we will just burst lightning their face. Alright, so in the mono-red mirror, I think I want this card. It's pretty good. I think in general it looked like our deck was honestly just a little better than theirs. Not that theirs was bad by any means, but our draw at the very least was much better than theirs. So I'm not quite sure where we want to be boarding here. I don't really want to board up, although this Hazoret does make a big difference in this matchup. So I do think I want that. They showed us a Braid. Does that change if I want these Moxes as a land? I think it changes one of them. I think I'm willing to go down 1. And then... what else? One more card. Could potentially just be Seasoned Pyromancer. Or Steamkin. Because they're a little more grindy, you know, engine cards. They might just get removed. I'm going to go with Steamkin. I don't love Steamkin on the draw. It's just going to be a little small, I think. You know, we just play our 2-drop and they're rushing in with a bunch of fast creatures, and that's probably a pretty big problem for us. Alright, well, I'll keep here. This hand's fine. It's a little more reactive, but as we saw through that last game, that might just be better for us anyway. And that might be the kind of hand they have here. They haven't done anything, so... No 1-drop burn spell is good. Oh, Strip Mine? That's fine. Strip Mine is fine. We have plenty of lands. Oh, they're not going to Strip Mine. Okay. Well, I suppose I'll just play my 2-drop then. And I'll attack. They have to be saving up for something. This could potentially just be like a Rabble Master, I suppose. Maybe that's what they think is going on here. Oh boy. Hard cast light up the stage. That is not what you want to be doing there, friendo. Well, I think I'm just going to Abbot here and get some advantage going, and then we can get pretty close to controlling things by locking down the board with Grim Lavamancer, Lightning Strike. We got a sword coming down here pretty quick, which will give us protection from the whole deck, which is pretty good. Although it can be abraded, so it's not, you know, always going to happen. So yeah, the young Pyromancer probably cast a spell here. No? Wow. Okay then. I'm going to go ahead and Lightning Strike this. Put some triggers on the stack. Let's yield to that. Let's yield to that. Does look like they're pretty dead here. Play a land. Yeah. I'm actually not going to attack with this Lavamancer. I'll leave this back. Because we can answer something like a... you know, we can ping down something like a Chandra or a Planeswalker. Or we can just tag a Rabble Master, if that is something that they have as well, too. We'll see what they've got. Now, they've chose not to use this Strip Mine the whole time, which leads me to believe that they have something expensive. Yeah, I like that. But I think this Sword of Fire and Ice is just going to kill them. I think if I just go face with this, they'll go to 9. I guess it depends on what they kill. If they're probably inclined to kill this, but this will actually get a prowess trigger. So let's see. We'll be at this will attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Xaxes, I believe. If they don't kill a prowess creature, what you killing? All right. Yep. So I think that should do it. To your face. Yeah, should be good to go. Unless they have something I don't know about, obviously it could be... I suppose they could have Fire Blast to take out... Oh, we equip this too, so I'll just put it on here in case they do. Oh, they might have it. Okay, so maybe they're not dead this turn, but... pretty close to dead. We shall see. But if this is it, this is a really solid turn 5 win. I mean, that's playing through some of their creatures and whatnot and just kind of getting them. Yeah, let's see here. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the 2 from this hitting them. We'll go with their face. So they are dead. So I think they're doing the math and checking to see if they're dead and if they have to Fire Blast in response here, which, you know, they do have to do. But being as next turn we can double Firebolt, right? We'll go land drop to 6. Firebolt, Firebolt. Oh, there it is. Super fast 4-0. 2-0, 4-0. So I will see you in round number 3. All right, here we are again with another pretty busted draw. Yeah, we'll keep. Unfortunately on the draw, but I mean, this hand looks... this hand looks really good. I think if I could choose, I would love to pitch the sword to this, but obviously that's not something we're allowed to do, so... Okay. Mana Dork. So first things first, we're going to lead on DRC. I'll cast this. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet, so we'll check this Surveil here. I'm going to bin this. And then we're going to go... Oh, this is so tough. So we could just Chain Lightning this right now, but I don't think we can afford to take that off. So I think instead I'll bin this, and I'll just play out the Soulscar Mage, and just pass. And then next turn we can Chain Lightning them. Turn after that, if we draw running lands, which wouldn't be great, but, you know, if we do, we'll be in a spot where we could Sword plus Equip. Wasteland. That has one target in our whole deck, friendo. Better hope you find it. And that's going to die. That is going to die. I will say that much. Ooh, that's pretty good. So I'm going to start here. Oh, boy. I think I'm going to bin that, actually, because we're getting another look at this Abrade anyway. Because I am going to just go ahead and just fire off this Abrade real quick on this Noble Hierarch. So we'll do that. And couldn't find a land on top. Yikes. Kind of hoping we could, just so we could Surveil one in, because we'd have Delirium if we could find ourselves with that, but... You know, not the end of the world. Next turn, we'll get to cast this sword and Surveil again, and if we find ourselves another land, that would be pretty great. Ooh, Mox Sapphire, okay. Let's see what else they've got. Surveil land? I think... we want a better spell than that, which is the reason why I'm bidding that at this point. We just want something better. Just a better card in general. So it's not so much about the Delirium aspect there. It's just we want, you know, a Hellrider off the top would be better. A Lightning Bolt off the top would be better. You know, tons of just better generic draws for us. Although I suppose we could, you know, obviously that probably means we're about to draw land here and I'd be sad, but Firebolt would be pretty good actually, because it's a 1-drop, could help take out a creature and could help us to, whatchamacallit, potentially enable Delirium, as well as in future turns be a recursive something to do. Obviously, all of this is dependent on what they do. They have 4 cards in hand. They are way up on cards. We're just hoping to kind of kill them before that ends up mattering. Shall see. Okay, so they want all their mana. Just can't wasteland us or anything. So they want to go up to 5. Oh, they're natural ordering us. Yikes! This is probably for something to kill the Sword of Fire and Ice. Although that would give us Delirium, so maybe that's okay. But if they go, you know, like nuke the sword, nuke, you know, our other artifact, and then, you know, hit one of their lands. Oh, no, they're just gonna try to race us. If you don't have a removal spell here, I don't know how that's gonna work for you, friendo. I'm gonna go ahead and equip. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to equip here. We'll see if they do not have a removal spell. I'm just going to cast this to put an artifact into the graveyard, which is kind of sweet. Ooh. And we get to Unholy Heat that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's actually insane. Wow, what a card to have on top, because we get to draw that this turn. To you. Draw a card. Unholy Heat this with Delirium, so that's even dead. Oh my goodness. That was just like the actual nuts. Oh wait, what? Why did Unholy Heat deal half the damage? Is there something about this card? That's actually so funny that the interaction between Soulscar Mage actually kept that alive. That's so funny. Wow, I had not considered that whatsoever. Okay, I think we'll just keep again, honestly. This is... Let's see here. It's only if it's kicked that it deals damage, right? Oh, no. Okay, actually I do want this then. I'll take this over the Abbot, I suppose. Yeah. No, over the Dire Fleet. They're not going to have many instants or sorcery. So I'll go like that. Wow. What a weird interaction. The Soulscar Mage, sorry, I should have explained that. The Soulscar Mage makes it so non-combat damage is dealt in -1/-1 counters, and then Vorinclex has the ability that all -1/-1 counters put on that I place on permanents are halved. So actually a super funny interaction that left the Vorinclex alive. Just not what I was expecting at all. So yeah, maybe we should have just held that, but I suppose they could be a deck with some number of counterspells in them, so maybe it was better to just turn it into a 3/3 on our turn. I don't know, tough to tell. Regardless, yeah, we'll be back for the next game, and hopefully we'll just get the clean 3-0-6-0. You know, that'd be pretty sweet. Okay, I'll keep this. It's not great, but if we find ourselves with like a fetch land or a spell to cast, this Grim Lavamancer might be pretty good against them. And then the all these creatures are just generically powerful. So, you know, if we find ourselves with some spells, if we draw any spells, I should say, we'll be in pretty good shape here. That counts. That sure counts. Yeah. Alright. I think we need to keep that on top. I kind of want to cast that next turn. Yeah, I'm going to pitch this Mishra's Factory, actually. Just, I want to make sure that we have as much red mana as we can potentially have access to with the cards that we have. And then next turn we can Young Pyromancer Unholy Heat this. Whew. This deck has felt very strong so far. I mean, granted, we have had a lot of mock starts, and that makes a big difference. That's a bummer. We have 3 artifacts in our whole deck. They brought in Nature's Claim. Okay. I suppose we can... I'm going to start out by attacking for 2. No, I lied. Do we need to take this Arbor Elf off the table? I feel like we do, and I guess the question is, what do we want to use to take it off? I think it's probably Unholy Heat, so I'm going to actually do this first to see if we can... Okay, I'll keep that on top. And now I'll just attack and get 1 through, which is fine. I just need to keep them off mana as best as we can here. Obviously, they're going to have more, mana sources, lands, things to do, but I think that's our best bet here. I'm going to attack for 2 again. And then I'm just going to play out this Young Pyromancer second main phase. We're just going to kind of hope to go around them, I think, this game. Between the Grim Lavamancer and the Lightning Bolt, we have ways to remove threats. But I'd prefer not to use this if we can avoid it. Because I would like to keep the Delirium count as high as possible. We are only 1 type away. See what they have. Okay, so that's going to die. So I'm actually going to, during my upkeep, bolt that probably. So that we can surveil. For our land drop. Okay, so they made blue mana with that. Okay. I'll go ahead and do this now. They go on 1, surveil. I mean, I think we need to hit Delirium here. It kind of stinks because I love the fact that this means we can play this out, but I think we need to put this in the graveyard. Oh, we already had a land. Oh. Well, that's a bummer. Okay, well, we drew land anyway. Just going to attack with Ul again. And then I'll play out this Porcelain Legionnaire, second main, and looking pretty good. I guess the good part of that is now that we have 2 lands and 2 instants, it means that we do get 1 use of the Grim Lavamancer without using our card types, or reducing our card types, I should say. So that actually is kind of nice. They're looking a little silly for Nature's claiming our our Mox Diamond, I'll say that much. Oh, what a draw. Okay, well, I mean, I guess we just go for the dome right here. I'm going to bin that. Once it's not a surveil thing, it's just a, don't want that card thing. And so I guess now I'll hold this back because it's dealing more damage that way. So I'll attack with everything except for this. And I suppose now I'll just want to shoot this down, and I'll ditch 2 of the lands and put 2 of them in there. Hope they don't have some sort of mono-green wrath that I don't know about, but it looks like we might have found this. Wow. Would you look at that? Let's get a look here. Take ourselves a nice screenshot. Sitting right on top of the trophy board. Oh yeah. Bam. Got one of those going. Alright, I mean, the deck was better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it was obviously solid, but still very impressed. I mean, it's a pretty solid showing for the power of the mono red deck. Like I said, DRC is really good. We didn't even get Ragavan, which obviously, would have been a great upgrade to have in our deck. But yeah, just some solid stuff. I guess I will. I'll see you next time.